Evening, everybody. Stipling Vaughn, and I'm overdue with a book review. This time we are doing Perfect 10. I did the unboxing video already, and when we did the unboxing video, we went through all the goodies, which include the standee, stickers, the pull out poster of American Bliss and Perfect 10. I now know these characters from reading the book, and I'm doing a book review. I'm not going to make the attempt to do StreamYard. Um, uh, just having trouble figuring it out with my phone. And it is the 2nd of October, and that means and it's 8:30, which means that in half an hour it is going to be 9 o'clock, which means it's going to be boom time with Dan Fraga for Fragtober. But I wanted to get this out. I wanted to get this taken care of. A lot of things been happening. You guys have seen all the videos between the unboxing video of this to now. So let's get to it. So Perfect 10. Perfect 10 is the main character of the series, and in the series, we start right off the bat with introducing the character. And obviously, she's coming out of some type of electronic mechanical cocoon, and there is something going on. The lab technician, doctor, whoever he is, okay, is very concerned, and he's like, "You don't have time to just wake up. You need to move your ass now." And of course, we go straight into the action. Now, before I go too far into this book, okay, our creative team is Dave Brink and Pal Radu. Dave Brink is the creator, and he's putting a lot into this. Um, So we go straight into the story. I'm not going to go through this book like each page. Reason being is because I don't want to ruin it for uh, other people who have yet to buy this book. And uh, when people go through every single page of a book, okay, the people that's hurting is Dave and Pal. Okay, because if I go through this whole book, you don't have a reason to buy the book, which robs money from them. So that's the reason why you will never see me go through every single page of a book and go over and critique the whole thing with panel by panel, page by page. Okay, um, this story was very well in the first issue. You have your basically this is your origin issue, but uh, it's not stale. Okay, action all the way through it. Pal takes a lot of his artistic influence from Todd Nadok. You can tell from how he draws that he's definitely aping his style. Does a fairly successful uh, version of it, or his own twist and feel. I'm not going to go any further really than this, but one thing I want to show is how this issue, okay, is you have a lot of. You don't need to put in every single flipping detail for this fictional facility. All you need to know is that it's a facility. It's an interior because you don't see any windows, and you got a lot of destruction and death. And then of course we go into our villains. Okay, so a lot of action. Get to know more of the character. The character is basically a lot of what's going on is the character being told stuff by other people in the book. Get an idea of who the character is and what's going on to tell the story. So we're learning what's going on along with our main character, Perfect 10. Okay, so we're learning along with her, and that's a nice, easy storytelling method. Okay, um, one thing I liked about this book is, and I'm going to go straight to the back of it, is in the back they give you uh, pinups. Okay, this is a Perfect 10 and Safeguard. We don't meet Safeguard, but it's still a nice pinup. Perfect 10, Perfect 10. Oh, I'm sorry. Perfect 10, Perfect 10, Perfect 10, Perfect 10, and the Clone Unique. So another group will be meeting, I guess. And then lastly, we've got Perfect 10 with the villains that Perfect 10's fighting. Perfect 10 again. So there is our issue number 1. And the reason why I'm making a big point of the pinups in the back is Diamond isn't doing well, and Diamond is looking at all of these projects that are being crowdfunded as a means to broaden their distribution and try to expand or to increase its sales base that is severely lost with the DC and Marvel Exodus, along with the IDW that's going to be leaving. They're hurting. They need to be able to fill that. Means they need to work with these creators, so that way the creators can see the financial benefit in going through Diamond. So let's say Dave and Pal decide they're going to go through Diamond. Okay, how do they minimize their expenses? The book, exactly the same, maybe a different cover, but don't include pinup in the back. Don't include your pinups in the back. This is fine. You want this. This is advertising more product. This you don't. Okay? If anything, you'd want to use your back cover to notify, okay, I just bought this off the shelf. In the back, you would have used the space as an advertisement to say that, okay, we've got issues 1 and 2 that issue 1 came out. 2 months later, issue 2 is coming out. You want to use that space right there to advertise that issue 3 is being crowdfunded and when it starts. Okay, you want to utilize that crowd. Okay, so that way, maybe you had 300 people who backed issue number 1. Okay, by utilizing the space, and you've gotten the book now out to like 2,000 people, you got a potential going from 300 people to 2,000 people when you do your campaign for issue number 3. And that's how you do that, is you get rid of some of these extras, so this has a higher value than what goes through Diamond, and you use this as a means to promote that, hey, if you like this book, you can still go through your comic book store, but if you really like it, you can get it a year before or 6 months before the comic book store by backing me through Indiegogo. That, I think, is the best option. That's a win for the creators, but it gives them ability to have a broader base by going through Diamond than later on. Okay? So issue number 2. Issue number 2, we meet more of the characters in this world that Perfect 10 is in. Okay? We have, right off the bat, we have the villain again. We are catching up right where issue number 1 left off. We go and we are in this world that Perfect 10 is in. Again, this is an establishing shot, okay? And we've got variety of buildings, details in these buildings, okay? A good establishing shot. Then we go to an interior. We're introduced to more new characters. The only 2 characters from issue number 1 are these 2. Then we go to another interior to exterior shot. We don't need these buildings being all such close details. Okay, we just need to show that they're buildings, and there's variety in the buildings. Then we see Perfect 10. Obviously, there's conflict with one of these superheroes and Perfect 10. So this is giving us more of an idea of the world that Perfect 10's living in. Again, nice interior shot. Look at that, okay? A nice round wall, okay? And we introduce the characters. We don't need to know a lot in the background because we know it's going to be word bubbles. So we've got, and again, One, two, three, four, five. We've got 6 panels. Okay, you really don't need more than 6 panels per page, especially with when you have a talk page. If as long as you don't, as long as you've already established where they are and you don't need to put anything in the backgrounds to help convey the story, then you can get away with that. Another thing also that I'm liking is we'll use this character Max. Okay, is look at the color art here. Okay, we've got a fairly simple face of Max. Okay, but we've got variation in colors. And they're not using like 10,000 different colors just for this one panel. They're using just enough, okay, to highlight his features. But here's the important thing, which we're finally starting to see, which for a long time we didn't. Okay, the tones, okay, are matching the pencil line work. Okay, and they're going in, they're enhancing these things. Okay, when computer coloring really first started, like they were doing all these 10,000 different colors for one panel, and they weren't even paying attention to the pencil lines. They almost had an attitude of, I'm better than the penciler and the inker. I'm going to do my own thing. And we're not getting that anymore. We're getting more of this gestalt between pencil, ink, color, along with the writer's story. I'm not going to really go any farther than this. Okay, so again, we're introduced to the main bad guy, and again we see how there's definitely an influence of Todd Nayok with how they draw with this cartoony animated style. Uh, in this book, like I said, we have more Perfect 10. We discover more about her. Um, she A lot of people don't like her from her past. She doesn't know what her past is. So again, we're learning along with her, and that's a big deal because that's a nice storytelling method. So that way you understand, okay, what did she do that everybody hates her? But we don't know yet. We have a slight idea, but we don't know. And too many times, specifically movies, okay, they do flashbacks real quick to establish everything, and it's one of those like, this character is really really stupid because we've already figured out what they did in the past that everybody hates them. But we gotta go through another 45 minutes to an hour of this character figuring the stuff out before we get into like more action. I mean, that's what it kills me when you get action movies that start off with a big bang scene, hour and a half of who am I? What am I doing? What's my motivation? And then they fight again. Um, we don't get that with Perfect 10. Um, one character I want to point out here is Replica. This girl looks like a tiger girl with green stripes. And I'll get back to her, but this character Replica, okay? I get a feeling that she's going to become a fan favorite, and we're going to be seeing more of her, and I'll explain later on. Okay. Again, I want to jump straight to the back. Nice backup. Like again, if I'm doing issue number 3, okay. Shane did this when he did Starlight Cats. Okay. He dedicated a whole page to thanking the fans for backing his book, and used it for uh, notifying us, hey, my next book is Inglorious Rex. Um, I think one of the best things to do is include on one page in your book, especially when you're doing crowdfunding, is to thank the fans, and then even if you were to do this image and let's say you shrink it, shift it up, and you fade the bottom portion of her, and then you put text across going, hey, creators of Top 10, we thank you for supporting us with this crowdfunding book. Check us out. We're planning to release our next campaign in this date. Okay? Because you got to keep in mind, if you give us an idea of when the next campaign is, we're going to be looking out for it. Okay? And again, okay, Eric Hodson. I liked Eric Hodson's work. I can tell that he has referenced this, and there's been a big change. And we'll go actually show the other images first. Okay, so we've got this image of cartoon of Perfect 10 and this image of Perfect 10. Okay, these I would say are like pre-movie. Okay, before the movies. Okay, nice animated style. We don't need to know where all the folds are. Okay, you see what I'm talking about? Now this is like post movies, where now we need to see all the folds and wrinkles. Why? Because when the characters are in their costumes, they use that with all the like 15 different layers of colors and everything, and all the different, and there's like 18 different textures on the costume to help different areas pop. I'm thinking of Captain America when I say this. Okay, but Eric does a very good job of referencing. Okay, so you have a nice natural feel to it, and he doesn't overdo the folds to kill the motion in the body. On top of that, look at how he actually uses the color, okay, to accentuate and increase the folds. The line work in the folds is one layer. The color adds a completely extra layer to the folds, okay? For instance, this fold here is completely done with color, okay? And he's using the colors to complement the inks, okay? Which again, we used to not have that. Now we have that. I think Eric did a very good job. I do like Eric's stuff. I'd like to see more of him, and not just as a pinup. Another thing also, again, you can tell that their world building. They've got a lot of characters, a lot of creations. Advertising their Power Trip book and their Dream Girl. I didn't get Dream Girl. I only got Power Trip. Okay, but I still think they're doing a really good job, and I wish them the best of luck in their future endeavors. I hope they do more crowdfunding, and I hope that uh, they have continued success, and I hope that their campaigns continue to grow. Next one I want to go over is the standalone book Power Trip. It's individual stories. You have three characters. You have American Bliss, you have Man Devil with whoever this character is in the background, and then you have our team book. Cover's done by Jim Jimenez. I like Jim Jimenez stuff. It gives me a feel and look of the Image era from Wildstorm Studios. Okay, when Image imploded, a lot of those artists who are really talented went on to work at Marvel and DC. Problem was is that Marvel and DC didn't want any of those artists to continue to use their Image influence styles. And a lot of those artists had to develop their own styles that slightly mimicked but didn't completely mimic their predecessors that they're working for. Disney and Marvel and DC, they didn't want the artists to continue to have the influence and power in the industry like they had up to that point with the Image days, and that's where they became more writer focused, and that's where we are our current problem. That's the reason why we have success, so much success, with these crowdfunded books, is because these are the people that were influenced by that Image stuff, and they want to see more of it, and they're being robbed of it with these 20-page books of two characters sitting on a rooftop discussing their feelings. And it's one of those where it's like, no, you can do better than that. Okay, but we see it also. The reason why is because the writers want 20 pages of them just discussing their feelings and all that stuff. Why? Because they want to get noticed by Hollywood, so that can end up in a movie, so they can use it. So, oh, you use my material, I get some money. They don't care about stories, and that's the reason why this independent stuff is becoming so popular. Is because we want good stories. We don't care about 20 pages of psychoanalyzing our feelings. So again, Jim Jimenez did a very good job. Essentially, we have uh, a bad guy and villain, a bad guy and hero. They've had their big fight. They have destroyed the building that they were fighting in, and as a result, we now have to bring in the cleanup crew. Cleanup crew comes in and they do their job. I don't want to give away too much of this story, but right again, right at the very beginning, we now are introduced to all the different new characters, and it's a standalone story. So, give me a minute here. So, our next story is Man Devil, Pencils and Inks by David Jackson. Nothing against David Jackson. I don't like his style. Okay, here's your establishing shot of your buildings, and it looks elementary. Okay, uh, this pretty nice. Okay, but there's absolutely no details, no change, and they're allowing the colorist to put in the change of the panel of the planes. Okay, no details, no change in line weight. Okay, this is very sad, very bad. Same thing when you go into here. Okay, you have profile shots of all your characters and just a line that establishes that they're in a room. No, that's not acceptable. This is okay. Nothing against. Okay, I'm sorry. I saw first year students from the Kubert School that had 10 that could do a panel 10 times better than this, or in day one of being accepted into the school. Okay, uh, I'm, David, I'm sorry, but this, okay, the guys that were doing pages like this, they didn't even make it out of first year. Okay, and then we go into here again. This is the reason why I go into big deal about the coloring. Okay, this is your main female villain. Okay, I'm assuming that she is supposed to be a very beautiful woman. Okay, the way the color is being used, it's blotchy. She looks like an old lady. Okay, just very. I'm not going to go any further into this Man Devil story. It's just very bad. So I apologize, Jason. I don't care for it at all. And then lastly, go back. We got Pal and Dave doing American Bliss. You can tell that the American Bliss is another character that they really like because both of them who created Perfect 10 are doing this. And the pinup that you get when you got the book are those two characters. So obviously they like American Bliss. And this was a good standalone short story. Don't get a lot of that these days. This is a good short story. Okay? Right off the bat, we establish with details in the buildings that this is a park. Okay? We have our two characters. Obviously, this is American Bliss, and this is some guy we're meeting for the very first time. We've got dialogue with him. He comes off a little creepy. He's kind of like hitting on her. She's somewhat and this is nice. Okay, she's showing off some skin. She's being not provocative. She's comfortable in her skin. Okay, she has a very beautiful body and she's not afraid of showing it off. That's something we're not allowed to see these days, is that type of stuff. So again, we go straight into the action. We don't need to know all the details in these buildings. Okay, Joe taught this a lot to us, is you don't need to draw every goddamn piece of detail in these buildings because it's the background. All we need to know is that it's a city and these are buildings. Why? Because there's your action. Cars, a little too much glass for me, but still, okay. Your car has gone through the statue and is crashing right next to our characters, and the dog's running away. Okay. Then we go straight into the action of our American Bliss going to rescue these characters. And then we've got our bystander who's like, oh, wait, how can I help? And we go through the story. What I did like the most of this is the guy here comes off a little bit as a creep. He's not. And what the interaction between these two characters concludes at the end of this story. I would like to see these two guys again. I'd like to see if there was a if what the result was from the ending of this story. And anybody who reads this story knows what I'm talking about. And I'd like to know what the result is. Okay? I don't want to give too much of my opinion, otherwise going to give away the ending. But I would like to see that. Okay? And then lastly, let's see, do they have? Okay. Again, we have a page of layouts, and we use the back page to advertise books within their universe. Okay. Again, I like this. This is smart. Okay. I like this a lot. And again, we have the background. Okay. So there is Power Trip, and we have Perfect 10, 1, and 2. So we're going to the last book, and we're going to do this one very fast because it is very close to 9. So we have, okay, the artwork, and it's just a book of pinups. And some of this stuff is nice, some of the stuff isn't. Um, but you can tell that they're very passionate about this world that they're built, with the stories that they're telling. Um, and they want to get interest. And this is how you do it: is you won't know if Earthling is going to be a popular character until you do this and see what the fan response is. Okay, you might be one of those where like she's only in one page, Primavera, but maybe she's going to be in the runaway character from this that everybody raves about and they want to see more of. Okay, if your audience is screaming, "We want to see more of her," you're going to give her more if you want to make money. Okay, just as like I didn't really care for this Force Major. Okay, I didn't care for any of the artwork for any of these characters. Okay, I mean this Rocklight character looks interesting, but I don't like the way any of these artists did it. Okay, so if they were to come out with this book, I'm not going to be inclined to back it because I didn't care for any of the artwork introducing these characters. But how do you know if any of these characters are going to be popular to pursue them unless you do a book like this? So I applaud them for doing this. This is like a lot how John Malin's doing his Visions book. Um, book 1 is just about his character from Graveyard Shift Lilith, whereas issue number 2, everybody can just advertise their own character, their own female in a pin-up character, kind of like how like the Marvel swimsuit issue used to be. But you don't know if any of these characters are going to be any interest until you put out pin-ups like these. This is another one where you can tell that Gorgeous and Grotesque. There's four. There's four pin-ups here of this duo. Obviously, it's a possibility that this might be one of their future books. Okay. So, and then of course we've got Replica again. So, and again, I think she's might be one of those characters that might become a runaway hit. That you might be one of those where we're going to have to do a full book on her, or we're going the next issue of Power Trip we're going to have to focus. The next issue of Power Trip we're going to have to spotlight her. Why? Because the fans are liking her, and you want to make money, which means you're going to do what the fans want. If the fans are like really raging about this character, then Perfect 10, you're going to have to put Perfect 10 as the backdrop character, so you can put Replica if that's who your fan base is wanting to buy a book of, and if that's going to increase your sales, that's what you do. It's not again, these guys are going to be doing the stories they want, but at the same time also they know that they have to be doing stories based on the feedback of their customers. Okay, they're not answering to a corporate head who wants to promote this agenda or that agenda. They are going answering straight to the fans. The fans are saying we want Replica, and I'm just using her as the example. Okay, but if that's who their fans are wanting to see, that's who you're going to give. So I hope you enjoyed it. I like this series. I hope they continue to do this. And it is 9 o'clock, which means it is boom time. So you guys enjoy Fragtober. I know I am. Remember, take life one dot at a time.